Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to everybody. This is Johnny Cofield, Coach Cofield Show, here with my special guest today, Mr. Gary Simmons. Man, this is a treat for everybody. This young man has a story to tell, and hopefully we can get it out and you guys understand it's not just about sports, it's other things in life. And I'd like to thank the people here at Hangar 38 for giving us the opportunity to be in the facility today, and thank Miss Terry for doing it. How you doing, Gary?
I'm doing good.
Man, it's a pleasure for me because we grew up together.
Yeah,
we have a relationship. It's not like
Yeah.
I just met you.
Yeah, that's
Man,
true.
talk about your growing up. I like to. You're a Tallahassee guy.
Well, yeah, the only reason I'm here is because we grew up together. Well, I tell all the people all the time, they ask me where you're from. I say, I'm from Tallahassee, I'm homegrown, grew up on the south side. I went to Bond, Nims, and Ricketts. That's my circuit.
That's you.
Yeah. So I'm a Tallahassee boy.
Yeah, man, but you was, back in the day, you basketball player.
Yeah. You know, I ended up playing basketball for Nims and ended up playing basketball for Ricketts. And I find myself playing basketball because I happen to be kind of good at it, you know, because there's certain people who love basketball, but because we did it in the neighborhood all the time, I didn't love it, but I enjoyed playing and I was good enough to make the team. So
Fantastic. And don't help that you're a little tall, too.
yeah, I was a little taller. I had a couple inches on some of my friends, yeah.
Now, you played at Ricketts,
Yeah.
first state championship.
First state championship team, it was fun.
Talk about it. I'd like to hear about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, I started off playing freshman basketball, played JV, played varsity, and we were the same guys all the way through. And I really believe there were better teams, like the team ahead of us,
Right.
and the teams that we worship, but we would happen to be the one to win state championship. So we had some talented guys on the team, Terry Sermon, Rod Sermon. I think I was the third leading scorer. I wasn't a playmaker, but I got my points in. Yeah, I got my points in. I remember one game, Terry was hurt, Rod was hurt, and I was determined to get me some points in. We played Quincy Shanks. Every time I touched that ball, I had to shoot.
You shot.
I feel like it was my responsibility.
Did the coach say something?
No, he didn't say anything, but we lost. But the next day in the newspaper it says, Simmons, 39, but not enough.
Yeah, that many.
39, but we lost.
You should have hit 40.
If I was keeping score, I would have made sure I hit 40.
But most time I find with basketball players, they keep an eye on the book. First thing they do, they go to see their stats.
Yeah.
It's important to them.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't that important to me. I just enjoyed playing. I enjoyed high school. I mean, like a lot of people, the greatest time of my life. Just enjoyed it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And so, with being a basketball player at Ricketts at the time,
Yeah.
you know, to me that's what we was famous for at the time.
Yeah.
We always get there, didn't get over the hump. And I'm being honest with you, out of the 4 years I was in school, y'all team was not I might have been the worst compared to some of the greats that came through before you guys.
That's what I meant. You know, with some better teams, we just happened to win the state championship, and it was a lot of fun. You know, and what just tripped me out about things. Some of the guys love basketball. I didn't love it. I just enjoyed playing it because we'll practice for hours, and they'll go home and want to watch basketball. To me, I was done. But I understand now that I'm older, you got people who love the game, the student of the game, and people just play. So I was just one of those guys that just kind of played and had little skills and made the team and was on the starting team from freshman to my senior year.
Did you play after high school?
No, I didn't play. I had no desire to play.
Really?
Well, actually, let me back up. I joined the Navy.
Okay.
When I went overseas, we had a Navy team. And when I played in the Navy team, we played some other military teams in Scotland. I was in Wales. We played some teams in Scotland. We played some teams in England, and we played some teams in Wales. Well, when we had some local people saw us, it was me and a guy named Vince. He was 6'7". they saw us and asked us to play on their team. So we were, quote unquote, professional ball players overseas before we became more popular. So,
Really?
yeah, and the rule was you can only have 2 Americans on the team at one time.
And they got you.
So me and Vince were there, 2 Americans. And I enjoyed it then, but here's the thing. Every time they announced the team, they wait to announce us last. Then they'll say, and from America, Gary Simmons. I was saying to myself, oh my God, now I got to perform. But it was a trip, though. We played good basketball, and one of the things that used to make me laugh was when we go and play some teams like in Scotland, you had all these guys, and you know they're from the States, and you can only have 2 Americans on the team at a time, right? So after the game, you're like, where you from, bro? You talking about Canada. Yeah, right.
Right.
All y'all from Canada and y'all from New York, right? Okay. Yeah, but it was fun. It was fun. Yeah, yeah. But I played a little ball overseas, and they paid us a little money, so it was kind of the caliber of our semi-pros here.
You was a pro basketball?
Well, it was kind of the caliber of our semi-pro here, but over there it was the genesis of their pro league. Yeah, this 1982, 83. Yeah, in Britain. Yeah, so yeah. I forgot about it. I mean, so
It made me learn a lot, right?
Yeah. So it was fun. It was fun. Yeah.
All right, Gary.
Yeah.
We're gonna change the mood a little bit.
Okay.
We want to talk about maybe some of the struggles that you might be able to help somebody with. We talked about, me and you talked a while back, and I thought your story was a very interesting story, and I thought that people should hear it.
Yeah.
Could you go ahead and kind of start?
Well, I guess trying to figure out where to start. I guess back in the early days in high school and stuff, there were rebels and there were Boy Scouts. You, my friend, was a Boy Scout. You know,
my mom need to know that.
Yeah, I hung out with some rebels, and I think it was 3 kinds of people. It was Boy Scouts, it was rebels, and wannabe rebels. And I think I fell into the wannabe rebel.
I never saw you as a rebel.
Well, just want to be cool. You know, it was the cool guys, and I just wanted to be cool. You know, but one of the things that we did, and it was so normal to us, was smoke pot. You know, and it got to the point where it was so weird that I would look at you guys as weird because you didn't. You know what I mean? If you were a Boy Scout, it's like, well, so wrong with him? He don't even get high. But, you know, it's not until later in life that I recognized when they used the term that pot is a gateway drug. Oh. I never understood that, but I understand it now because just due to the fact that most guys can smoke pot and decide not to smoke pot, and it's not an issue. But smoking pot makes you think that you can handle things that are more addictive. You get this false sense of security. So, you know, you're getting high and somebody's offering you something else, you get high, and you know, you think it's all that simple. But I got introduced to, at the time it was freebasing cocaine. And then it just kind of, over a period of time, it started evolving to crack. So I found myself, completely addicted to crack cocaine. And it was just the most amazing, controlling thing I ever had experienced in my life. And it really took me down a road that, like they say, I wouldn't wish on anybody. It was just really a dark time in my life that I could not come out of. And all my thinking and all my reasoning and all my figuring out, which I thought I was a legend in my own mind back in the day, I could not be free from this drug that was controlling my life. And it was just the most incredible thing in the world. And I found myself losing everything around me. I had a great career in the Navy. Found myself getting kicked out of the Navy. Oh yeah. I found myself getting locked up in the brig in the Navy. I found myself going to treatment centers and went through a couple of treatment centers, ended up getting kicked out of the last treatment center. Just could not figure out how to free myself from this addiction. And it's the most incredible, deceptive thing in the world. And I mean, I can tell you a million stories, but it's just a place that I wouldn't recommend anybody trying. And again, smoking pot is a gateway drug because it makes you think you can handle anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? And some people can't handle. A lot of people can't handle those drugs. I think they got Molly out and all kind of things now. But man, it was the most awful and dark time of my life.
I mean, you was doing. Now, I don't want to get off of that, but you was in a group, dance group.
Now you taking me back to high school now.
I still got the video. I got the video. I took it off of Facebook. When you guys was in homecoming parade.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I bragged on you guys. These guys. I said, y'all was on. What y'all on the Johnny concert?
We were about to be on the Mike Douglas show, and we did a lot of traveling around the tri-state area. But that was before all the drug addiction stuff.
Really?
Yeah. The drug addiction came later.
The way y'all dancing.
It looked like we were on drugs. It was crazy, but we were called the Players.
Right.
It was six guys and one girl, and it was during that Soul Train era.
Right.
And I mean, those guys on Soul Train, man, I tell you what, they popped in the lock, and there was a group on the Soul Train called the Lockers, and we emulated the Lockers, but man, we loved them, man, and we danced all around the community. A lot of people knew us from the Players, and then there's a lot of little groups started popping around town, the dealers, the this and that, and they all kind of, I hate to say it, they all kind of idolized us, because we were a little bit older than they were. But man, that was a exciting time of our lives too. So
you was in the group.
I was in the group. Yeah.
When you finished that, you went to the Navy after that.
Yeah, I went to the Navy after high school. Actually, I went to FAMU for a couple of years. I was an electronic engineer major at FAMU. Got distracted, because I always tell people, mainly guys, if you go to college out of town, so your whole world is that college.
Right.
I'm here from Tallahassee. I got my college world, I got my home world, I got all these different worlds, and I was distracted. So I ended up, I stopped going to college and got a job down at Olin's, down in St. Mark's. Yeah, that was good money back in the day.
Yeah.
But we was making gunpowder.
Could have blew the whole place.
And then I worked down there for about a year, then I recognized, I said, wow, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. And someone recommended I take a test and go to the Navy, go to the nuclear power program. So I passed the test and qualified for the nuclear power program, but I came to the place that I understood that I didn't want to be on a submarine. So they gave me some other choices, and one of them was to be a computer technician for tactical data systems, and I said, that's what I want to do. So I went to the Navy for 8 years. Yeah, so that's when I went overseas and all those things. Yeah, so it was a wonderful ride.
So you got introduced to drugs while you was in the Navy.
Now I'm telling you. Now I always been introduced to drugs with smoking pot and that kind of thing. Every now and then snorted coke, but I got introduced to freebasing, coming home on leave one time. I came home and a homeboy, a friend of mine, said, "Man, you ought to try this new thing, man. This is really good." And he brought me in, and he bought some coke, and he went in the kitchen and got some water, and I was like, "What the heck is all of this? Are you a chemist?" You know what? And then when he finished the product and put it in the pipe, and I hit it for the first time, it was just the most amazing high I ever experienced. And I just could not believe that you can feel this way smoking this, what they call freebase at the time. Mm-hmm. It was just amazing. And, if I had a little money, what you gonna do? You want to experience that again.
Right. So
that's how I was introduced. And when I left and went back to overseas, I was it. You know, it wasn't an addiction then, but it was just something I experienced that I knew I wanted to try again. You know what I mean? And the funny thing, when I came home and leave again, I did the same thing. So that was the pattern. That was the pattern. So, and then eventually I got stationed back here in the States, in Jacksonville. Thought about it too much, too long, and I ended up going out in Jacksonville buying it. And by that time, crackhead came on the scene, and you didn't have to be a chemist. You just buy it off the streets and you start smoking it. Then I found myself addicted. You know what I mean? Doing stuff I would have never done, and it just really got bad. And I ended up getting kicked out of the Navy, and you know, just life just
what
took a dive.
What did it cost you?
It cost me everything. It cost me vehicles I lost, previous marriage I lost. You know, I was really up and coming in the Navy. I made rank in an incredible short period of time. People didn't believe that I was at the rank I was at. Right. You know, I graduated top of my class. You know, I got preference of duty station. I mean, everything was working for me, but I mean, it took a deep dive.
And it was quick.
It was quick, you know, and the Navy, they got a policy of, you know, if you didn't come in broke, we're not gonna send you out broke. So they sent me to the treatment center before they kicked me out to fix me. So I went to the treatment center, and, you know, second day I got out, I was out there again, you know. So I ended up just living in the streets, going from house to house in Jacksonville, and you know, having to call one of my good friends to come to Jacksonville and please come and get me, and he drove down and picked me up and brought me back home, and ended up moving back with Mom, and didn't stop there, you know. Because when you're addicted, you're addicted. So I kept doing my thing, and ended up going to another treatment center, and ended up getting kicked out of that one. Well, no, the story to that treatment center is I got to the point, Johnny, where I came to the conclusion the only way that I can stop doing this is to be locked up. Then you know, your mind, you ain't thinking. So I said, okay, I got a plan. I was staying with this girl. I said, okay, I'm gonna buy some crack. I'm gonna call a cop. I'm gonna tell them it's a domestic dispute. When they come, I'm gonna show them the crack so they can lock me up. Brilliant plan in my drug-induced mind. Everything was going just fine. There was only one thing that went wrong.
What was that?
It took too long to get there.
What happened? I
started smoking the crack.
Oh, man.
By the time he got there, it was just some crumbs.
You're so good.
And I gave it to him. He looked at me, and he called his captain or something, and he said, "I'll tell you what, we're gonna take you to the treatment center." Yeah, so he was great. I know him today. He was a great guy. He took me to the treatment center, and I thank God for that. You know, because he had a little discretion. You know what I mean? And he saw that I was struggling and wanted to stop, so he took me to a treatment center, and I was there for another few weeks, and they made one mistake at the treatment. It was a new facility. They had bought a house, but it was co-ed. Oh. And say no more. You know, I got kicked out of that.
You got kicked out of that.
It was an experiment that they're not going to do anymore. So I don't think. Yeah, but that was my last treatment center. Got kicked out of that, and my change came when one of the night counselors invited me to go to church.
We're going to talk about that when we get back.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
All right. You say things you begin to turn around.
Well, after I got kicked out of the drug treatment center, I was trying to go to the AA meetings and the NA meetings, and I was seeing some of the people from the treatment center. They were coming. They all attend the same meetings, and one of the counselors from the treatment center was at the meeting. I think they were having some kind of AA party or something, and she came and she asked me, she said, Gary, won't you come to church with me Sunday? And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, okay. But she asked me a question that kind of threw me off. She looked me down, she said, can I take that to the bank? It kind
Now
of
you make it convicted.
convicted me. I'm like, okay, I'll be there, So next Sunday I got up, went to this church, and I saw these people in church. Now I've kind of been to church, all my life, in and out, kind of, holidays, Easter, and and my parents took me to church when I was young, so I understood the gospel and that kind of thing. But I kind of went with the understanding of I'm just going to pay on my fire insurance, because when I die, I didn't want to burn.
That's it.
So I'm going. So church to me is just going to pay on your fire insurance.
Right.
But I walked in this church, and it was just something different there. That people had their hand raised, and they were eyes closed, and they were praising God like He was real. And I was like, wow, it was kind of surreal to me. And the worship was going, and I remember saying to myself, and I was so pitiful, still pitiful at the time, broken, busted, and disgusted. And I remember saying to myself, I said, God, I know about you, I heard about you, but this, for one time, I want to sell out. And my major concern, I remember saying these words to myself, one of my major concerns was being called a Jesus freak or not being cool, And I remember saying to myself, I don't care if they call me a Jesus freak, I don't care anymore. And I remember walking to that altar during the altar call, and the pastor at the time told me to raise my hand and begin to recite, do I believe that Jesus is the Son of God? And I remember raising my hand and saying those words, and the elder came to me and whispered in my ear and said, son, you know what you're doing? And that scared me a little bit. I thought I did until you asked me that. But he was just, make sure I understood. And when I did that, I'm telling you, it's like from the tip of my fingers, the presence of God filled the room. I just never experienced that in my entire life, Johnny. Words are diminished what I'm trying to say I experienced, but He filled the room, and it was like electricity was going through my hand, and it filled my whole body. And I had one of those experiences where I had an encounter with God, and instantly I was free. I hear older people talking about my hands look new, my feet do too. That was the experience I had. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know how real He was. And He was real. And I looked around the room, I was like, everybody looked new. I was like, I'm from Tallahassee, but the city was like, this is a new city. And it was just such an amazing experience. I felt like a new person. And I remember going home, and I was staying with this young lady, and I was going home. I went home after that experience, and it was raining that day, and I was still home just kind of tripping on it. And I remember walking out to the front porch. I had a pack of cigarettes. Tap, tap, tap. It was raining. I put it in my mouth. I was about to light it, and I felt a great, and it wasn't a voice. It was a impression that you don't have to smoke that anymore. I was like, wow. And I put the cigarette out, and I never smoked again. I never used crack. It freed me. That moment, it was the most incredible experience I ever had in my life. And I remember going into the house and telling the young lady, because when you're on crack, you make a lot of promises that you don't keep. You make a whole lot of, people get sick of hearing it. I said, I gotta move out, I'm gonna go and stay with my sister. And she was like, yeah, okay, sure. And I moved out that day and moved on my sister's couch and my life began. And what's amazing, right when I thought my life had ended, my life just began from that day forward. So, yeah, and He kind of guided and led me every step of the way. It was real, And even when I talk about it, I hear myself through two different voices. I hear myself through a voice that wasn't saved
Right.
and just sound like a bunch of religious stuff. Right. And I hear my voice through the reality of what I experience and the reality of what I know right now. And I just like to make it perfectly clear how real he is. You know what I mean? Because what I come to find out, most people experience about God is their experience with church,
Right.
their experience with whatever they think church is, and culturally, we got our cultural church experience,
Right.
and other cultures got other cultural experience. But if people ever understood the reality of who he is and what he can do in their lives, nobody will reject him. But
Right.
people do because they don't know. And the most kind of weird thing about it is I can talk to them blue in the face and try to explain them to you, but you won't know until you believe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the kind of weird thing about the whole thing. But he turned my life around, and he began to show me what I need to do next, every step of the way. You know, I've been in business now for 37 years.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I've been in
And
business.
that was 30-something years, 30, how long ago that was?
That was about 38 years ago. Yeah, yeah, I was 29 years old, and I didn't think I'll see 30. I really didn't. I just didn't think I'd make it, because the addiction was just that dark. It was just that gloom and doom, and considered suicide several times. Too chicken to do it. But I mean, that's real. Yeah, but man, he turned it around, and he just gave me instructions, and I remember one time this young man prophesied in my life, right? And I'm a baby Christian. I don't know exactly what that means, but he said, and sometimes I hesitate to tell the story because it sounds like I'm talking about prosperity gospel, but
Right.
I'm not talking about prosperity gospel. I'm talking about salvation gospel.
Right.
The guy came and prophesied to me, and I'm still broke now. He said, "I see money coming out of your pockets. I see money coming out of your pockets." I'm like, what is he talking about? But later on, during time of prayer, God showed me. He said to me, and not in a voice, but in an impression. He said, "Gary, if you want to see money coming out of your pockets," and it was so simple but profound. He said, "You have to make sure you're wearing clothes that has pockets." So, and I'm explaining to you. So you have to make sure you're wearing clothes that has pockets. So I'm saying, okay, leisure suit, pants, pockets. But the point he was making was, it wasn't about prosperity. He said, if you want to see me, you got to posture yourself to receive what I have for you. So he was saying, just go and prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. I had got a temporary job with a company who put in a security system. So I know a little bit of electronics. And before you know it, I was the head guy on that project. So I started getting calls with people about doing some stuff for their company. I was like, well, why are these people calling me? And one day a guy asked me, he said, "Do you have your own business?" And I said, "No." He asked me, "Why not?" And I didn't have an answer. So God was telling me, just posture yourself. Go out and do your fictitious license. Get you an account. Prepare. Posture yourself.
Right.
Put on clothes that has pockets.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I just started posturing myself. And next thing you know, I got a couple of little jobs. And one time I got this one job. It's so funny. My wife and I, we laugh about it. It was $5,000. That was so much money. I didn't know what to do with all that money. And God told me to buy a van. I'm like, well, Father, I'm still a brother. We don't want no van.
Right.
But I bought a van. Every time he told me to do something, I did it. Bought a van. It was my first van. You know what I mean? Put magnetic signs on the side during the weekend. It was a family vehicle. So little things like that. I kept posturing myself, and I did what I felt he was telling me to do. Right now, the company has about, I don't know, 15, 18 vehicles.
You didn't even mention the name of the company.
Data Set Ready.
Data Set Ready.
DSR. Yeah, we're a network structure cabling company. We do a lot of integration, installations, access control, video management, huge, large-scale video management system. So, we may put 1,500 cameras in a system. We do cameras at airports and universities, and we've done quite a bit of work at the state capitol, a lot of state agencies around town. And right now, I think we're working on I know we're working on the emergency operation, the new emergency operations center out in Southwood right now. Well, my team is at least. And been doing it for 37 years now, almost 38 years. Yeah.
Well, for some people don't know, he's been one of our biggest sponsors. He's helped us out in many of our media days and stuff. So, that story, your story to me is just awesome. It's an awesome story.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm gonna tell you what I see.
Okay.
When I see you, I see joy and happiness in you're smiling. You're always smiling. You're always happy. And I'm like, man, that dude is happy. And because some of the things I know you've done for other people, ain't got to put it out there. I know you don't really care about that, but man, you is from Tallahassee, Southside. You make a brother proud.
Yeah, well,
I like to see, everything is not about sports, but it is with us. We do, that's our thing. Yeah. But I like, you did play sports. Yeah. You played basketball. It was pretty good. Played pro. Played pro basketball overseas and everything.
Unquote. Yeah, quote.
But I'm happy, that you came and spoke to us, and I hope this is, we can get this out, and I like for people to see. Maybe it might inspire someone else.
Yeah, hopefully it will. One thing that I learned though, God gives everybody a gift, but when you come to know Him, He knows how to make that gift fruitful. You know what I mean? Because you got a gift, but a lot of times because we got so many choices in our lives, sometimes we choose something for the money, we choose something for the fame, we choose something that's not in our gift. Right. Because everybody's story not gonna be my story, like my story. Everybody's not gonna have a business, but everybody should walk in their gifts. And one of the things I like about sports, man, it's almost, you hear it all the time, like a metaphor for life. You're making decisions out there, you know what I mean? And what if you walk in this life with God as almost like God is your coach? Right. You know what I mean? He's telling you, no, that's not a good move. Let's do it this way. Right. You know what I mean? So if He's your coach, you're gonna have success. You can't help it. You can't help but have success. He wants you to succeed more than you want to succeed. And a lot of times when you're talking to young people, especially at our age, we just old people talking about church stuff and talking about trying to, and even if it's not church stuff, we just old people trying to give you advice, and we don't know because we ain't cool. Right. But it's just so much wisdom in knowing God, because sometimes people say that with age come wisdom. That's not necessarily true, Johnny. With age come experience. Right. Wisdom comes from God. Right. Because I know a lot of old fools. You know what I mean? So with wisdom comes from God, age comes experience. So if young folks can tap into that early, their life can be so much more fruitful. Not that you don't have struggles, because I had some stress, but man, I can smile today. Awesome. I got joy today. You know what I mean? Yes. And and I know where it all come from. So I'm not walking around proud of something I did. I just thank God He gave me the ability to posture myself for His blessing. Yeah. Man, you have a great story. Yeah. Well, thank you, John. And I'm sure it's not I'm sure, we come in and we talk about a lot of stuff, man. That's probably the most powerful thing you ever said. Well, I appreciate the opportunity. This is not my comfort zone. I mean, you did. I can't tell. Yeah. You did. I mean, but you talking about that's a struggle, but
I didn't. I said all I said was yeah.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me.
Oh man,
So,
you some of the reasons for the season, man. You have helped us out quite a bit. And when you sat down and told me what was going on, I said, man, we gotta do something with that. I don't care if it's football or whatever.
Yeah.
People need to know.
I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
All right.
See, that wasn't that.
Don't invite me no more.
And people, thank you to the people here. Hangar 38, Miss Terry, appreciate it. We appreciate the man behind the camera, Mr. Lukeman. Hopefully you can use his services. Hopefully we'll put this on there. Thank you.